Hey guys, what's up? Unrested here, and I'm hoping you're all having a great holiday. I just wanted to jump in here with a quick video, not as long as my normal ones. And yes, members, I know I owe you guys two videos coming up soon, but this was one that my wife actually brought to my attention about someone who is a big comedian back in Japan. And also, I knew from YouTube, there was actually a YouTube channel for her whole comedy style. You may have probably seen her before if you've watched anything on Japanese TV. Her name is Fua-chan. I'm going to put videos overlaid here of what she does on TV. It's not really my thing. Her whole style is dressing like, imagine someone bought every accessory possible at a Crunch Fitness and then put it on at the same time. It's kind of like that. Or if like you got dressed completely in the dark and thought you were going to a rave but instead ended up in gym clothes. I'm not sure exactly how I would describe this dress. Of course, that's all part of her character, as all these people who do these comedy acts have a character, quote unquote. That's how Japanese TV works. It's either being ridiculously blunt, like being very blunt is a great form of comedy there, or being slapstick is still a very popular form of comedy in Japan. For her, it was being blunt from a female perspective, like being overly blunt with things that she said. And her YouTube channel is really quite popular. Let me see. I don't. I remember the channel's called like Woo Woo. That's pretty much what it's called. Okay, so on September 2017, Fua-chan launched her own YouTube channel, Fua-chan's Woo Woo channel. Okay, yeah, so Woo Woo. It is controlled though by TV Asahi. She has a agent and everything like that, so it's very, very media-based control. You're gonna find that a lot with comedians, actors, etc. If they do have their own YouTube channel, it's not because they're a free-spirited creator who wants to go ahead and let the media and public know a little bit more about their personal life. It's all very constructed and very put together to advertise them even more. It's just like a longer advertisement for them. So her whole comedy career kind of really took off from the YouTube aspect and made her part of a bunch of variety shows. I mean, you would see Fua-chan on like tons of variety shows about damn near anything. It could be everything from what are movie stars' favorite cakes to eat to Japanese politics. What should we say about them? So this is somebody who's been on a vast amount of variety shows. Even in recent years, it says she's been working on freelance comedy, mostly as a solo performer. In 2020, she participated in the Japanese entertainment events such as R1 Grand Prix Racing, Final Battle of the W competition for the Best Female Entertainer, and even jointly operated the Yashimoto Kogyo and Nippon Television. As a result, Fua-chan's TV appearances increased sharply, and she also became the general MC of, and this is like her big thing, TV Tokyo. And the name of the show she's on is Shichochawa Sama ni Kawaritai, which is like, I want to stay popular with my viewers, which makes sense if you think about her background is YouTube. You want to stay popular with your subscribers or whatever. That's kind of the whole thing. So like, what can they do to keep up with trends to stay popular with the viewers that watch them? She's gotten like bunches of awards. She's been like recognized amongst Japanese media for a while now. And I mean, like her whole career, like it started all the way back in right out of high school, pretty much. She went to college. She did all this stuff for like Watanabe Comedy School in Tokyo, and started a partnership with like a comedy group. That's usually how it all starts. You start like a comedy duo. You become part of a duo, or some. I think she's part of a triumvirate, whatever you call a group of three. And that started all the way back in 2014. So she'd been going for a while. She's gotten all these awards, like the Galaxy Award for Notable Talent. She even, like her biggest thing, this was the biggest thing that she did, like her most popular joke. And this was really funny to the Japanese, was when we had COVID in Japan, Shinzo Abe, who was the prime minister at the time, said the way he was going to help the Japanese was by giving out 2 free masks to every citizen of Japan, which is kind of like, oh, Great. Thanks so much. You've solved COVID, Abe. Um, and she made a joke called the Abe no mask. Like that was her joke. She's like, everybody should wear their Abe no mask, which is like Shinzo Abe's mask that he gives you because like, this shows like true Japanese pride. We should really, honor the prime minister for his great, dedication and donation to us as Japanese people. Obviously, it's a mockery of, the very little help that he gave the Japanese public. Great, super funny, love it. I guess it was like the Japanese love that joke. But where she's recently run into a ton of trouble, where she's kind of like absolutely annihilated her career, and this is kind of shocking because for the most part she's had no controversies at all. She never really like speaks out of turn, never talks trash. You'll find most Japanese comedians and stars in general don't really do that. There's not a lot of big issues with stars going online voicing very deep political beliefs or getting into like left or right-wing politics and trying to destroy the other side like you sometimes see with artists out here in America or with actors and actresses out here in America where they very loudly voice their public opinion. It seems like by reading the news and then repeating what they read in the news. That seems to be their deep perspective that they like to grant us. The public hoi polloi, us proletariats, are gifted by their voice of politics, which is always kind of a funny thing to read if you try to take any of these guys seriously, because a lot of movie stars in America barely finished high school or went to college. In Japan, not so common. You would never go out of your way to do this. That would be a possible defamation lawsuit, which defamation is far more strict in Japan. That's why there's not a lot of politics and political jokes, because politicians have been known to actually sue people for you talking trash about them, even if it's completely true. Yes, you can still sue somebody for defamation in Japan, even if what you're saying is true as a comedian. So that's why you don't see a lot of political jokes going on with comedians. So very rare for this type of thing to happen, for online bouts or online fights to get somebody canceled. Not a lot of cancellation actually going on in Japan. You can be pretty crass for the most part. There's still a very 1950s, say what you want type of situation. Like there's even been people who've made slightly racist jokes. For example, there was a comedian back in, I believe it was around 2008 or 2009. He made a commercial where he talked about like gaijin getting great prices, that's foreigners getting great prices on airplanes, and he wore this extra long nose because white people have longer noses than Asian people. That was the joke. I didn't find it overly offensive. I mean, he looked like inhuman, but he got like kind of canceled for that because it was a bit too far over the line. But I mean, there's even groups like Momo-iro Clover. Momo-iro Clover actually has a picture where they did blackface, and they've never been canceled over that. So they still get away with like quite a bit of stuff. But this was something that she did not get away with. And she's known for being really crass. Like Fua-chan's thing is like she's known for being blunt, for being crass. She even has like a side gig in Japanese wrestling, which, as you know, wrestling can get more blunt and more crass. She made a post on X or Twitter, whichever one you want to call it, on August 4th, 2024. So this is not too long ago. Fua-chan made a post mocking comedian Yasuko. If you don't know Yasuko, they come from very different backgrounds. Okay, so Fua-chan came from pretty much a silver spoon in her mouth background, where she grew up with a lot of riches, sent to a great university, already had connections in the whole comedian business, was easily able to get a gig. Yasuko like pretty much pulled herself up from her bootstraps. She, dug herself out of poverty and into the line of comedians that she's part of today. And even more so, which was kind of crazy to see, it was during COVID, if I remember correctly. She used to be like one of these bigger, like I say bigger, I'm not trying to make fun of fat people, but literally part of her joke was that she was fat. Like, to be fat is funny for female comedians in Japan. Like, there's literally comedians who put on extra weight to be funny as fat female comedians. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to body shame or anything like this, but she was one of those people. And during COVID, she said she got so bored she lost like all this weight. So she's somebody who's done like all these different strides and made all these different public appearances. She even got into modeling and everything after that, after she did this. So she's like made some like huge climbs in her life, some huge, ways into all different multimedia and business and everything like that. And she's doing really well now. And when somebody is like really well known, really well honored, sometimes they do what's called like a marathon donation, where they have a channel that they do a marathon for, where they'll go 24 hours. Oftentimes they'll do like a marathon where it's like 24 hours and all these miles. And so she had to like run, it was almost like 2 days straight or something like that. And she called it the Yasuko Olympics, or I don't know if she titled it that, but I guess the channel maybe did. And to loosely translate her post, it said something like, Yasuko Olympics, it's a great time to be alive, so we should all strive to be our best as humans. And I don't know why. Well, I've heard reasons, but Fua-chan decided to respond to this on X, on Twitter, with the reply that, yeah, but it's not great that you're alive, so you should go die. Which is like, what? Like, what? She very quickly tried to delete this, but as you know, the internet never forgets. It was an insane thing to post. I think if you were in any country internationally, this would be like, what are you doing? Why are you posting this? Why are you saying this to a person who's just excited about a TV event that they have coming up? And things went downhill from there. So first of all, Fua-chan's her excuse for posting this, which I read it translated on another site called Tokyo Sports, and I don't know if I fully understand this. If someone understands the translation better, because this got into the realms of social media that I'm not used to translating. She said she was showing her fellow comedians. She was, hanging out with two other fellow comedians, one named Kano, and I think Morimoto was the other one. And she was like, this is a way that you can get great reactions. And she said she started to post what she called an anti-comment. And she said anti-comments will really get like public, stirred up and excited, and a bunch of responses, and you'll get noticed really well on Twitter. This is an example. And she said she typed it out, but she didn't mean to hit send or post or whatever, she didn't mean to hit tweet. I don't know, what do they call it now on X? X tweet? She didn't mean to do that. It was just her showing an example of an anti-comment to get likes and views. And she was showing her fellow, kohai senpai relationship with the fellow comedians she was with at the time, which the other two comedians, they've been asked about it. They're like, look, I don't know what she's talking about. All I know is I have nothing to do with that post. Like, that's pretty much what both of them have said. They've both been like, look, what she posted's messed up. I have nothing to do with it. Please don't involve me in this. And they've even taken some backlash themselves, which even some people have been like, why are these people getting backlash? They had nothing to do with the post. Like, even if she was showing them an example of an anti-comment, they didn't say, oh, you should hit send. Come on, guys. Give them a break. Anyway, she did hit send. She did post it. It did show up. And Yasuko did not fire back. She did not try to be like, yo, what the hell's your problem? What are you doing? Like, why are you posting this? Like, that's screwed up. Her only response, and this is really quite sad. Like, I looked at it and very easy to translate. It was a very simple, watashi wa kanashi. Like, I'm sad. Like, I'm really sad. Like, I can't believe, someone I looked up to would post this as a response to me. And it's just like, oh, damn, dude. Like, come on. Like, of course, she has every right to post that. I'm not saying, come on, like, cheer up, whatever. Like, it's brutal to see someone react like that. I mean, that just made everything worse, like, for Fua-chan, because everyone's just like, yo, dude, like, she's not even trying to fire back at you. There's not some kind of, like, beef going on. You just somehow, out of nowhere, fired off at this person. Now, of course, there's, and this is all, like, audience theories, fan theories, I don't know what you want to call them. There's people saying that, like, there's always kind of been a secret rivalry behind the scenes, that Fua-chan's always been kind of jealous of Yasuko because she's, like, really, like I said, pulled herself up from the bootstraps, like, you know, dug her way all the way to the top and, you know, really made it a successful career as a comedian, even though she started from nothing, whereas Fua-chan was pretty much dropped in the middle of this with a silver spoon in her mouth, given everything and, you know, given the go-ahead, all the funding, all the backing, and she's still not as big as Yasuko has become now. She's not the one doing the marathon, and there's a lot of jealousy in that. So, I don't know, but as of, I believe it's August 11th, yeah, it says here, she ultimately announced she would be going on hiatus as of August 11th and has not responded ever since. So she's been totally dead quiet since then. She hasn't really made any appearances. She hasn't really done anything. Her whole career has kind of been slammed. She had a Google Pixels sponsorship, and her billboards were everywhere, just like all, you know, on the sides of buses, all over big billboards in Japan, and she's been taken off of all that. Pretty much all her sponsors have reneged on all their deals. They pulled out, like, you know, if you ruin public image of yourself and it's connected to the company, there's lots of contracts in Japan that are just like, yo, you do that, we're out, we're done, we're gone. Even jobs that you sign up for to do in Japan, like, you know, if I work for a certain Ikaiwa, Nova, GABA, something like that, if I do something in my own public life that gets me in the newspaper, having done a crime or something like that, they have every right to, like, completely, you know, cancel my contract and stuff like that. That's usually in the contracts that you sign with either a company or a sponsorship or something like that, that, like, if you destroy your public image, they have every right to cancel the contract ASAP. So that's what's happened to her right now. And, you know, I don't know, there's people still on her side who are like, you know, what she did was just a mistake. She's made a huge apology for it and stuff like that. Of course, she posted a public apology that was like, I should have never done this. It was stupid. I wasn't thinking. I need to take an emotional reflection on myself and stuff. You know, the typical stuff you can see. I mean, it's obviously typed out by a corporate speak or a think tank for PR, something like that. You know, like, it's not genuine. I think what would be genuine is, like, you know, her getting in front of the public and making, like, a public apology, or, you know, seeing if she could have a meetup with Yasuko and, like, apologize to her face to face. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Sometimes in Japan, when you ruin your career like this, you ruin it forever. Sad but true. And the thing that sucks is it can even be, like, minor things that can ruin your career. Like, there's been movie stars who are massive, or comedians who are massive, and they had a kid who committed a crime, and because that crime is connected to the comedian or the star being the adult and the parent, they lose their career because of what their kid did. So imagine if you're the exact cause for a career-ending move. Your career is super dead. Will she ever make a comeback? Who knows? You know, stranger things have happened in Japan. But I'd like to know, you guys in the comments, you guys viewing today, do you know who Fua-chan is? Of course, like I said, I'm going to drop some videos over this, some photos over this, to make sure you understand who I'm talking about and stuff. Like I said, if you've watched any bit of Japanese TV, you've probably seen this person before. I'm not a huge fan of her type of comedy. In general, there's not a lot of Japanese comedy I'm really a big fan of. It's just not my thing. You know, like, if you think about it, comedy is so culture-based. I'm sure if a Japanese person watched, like, Shane Gillis, they'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It would make no sense to them and not be overly funny. So I think that's a lot of what happens with comedy. I'm not saying Japanese comedy is bad whatsoever. I'm just saying, because I didn't grow up from, you know, the age 0 up in Japanese culture, sometimes I don't always get the reference. Or, you know, I'm just not raised in that type of comedy. The American comedy is very, very sarcastic, and there's not always a lot of sarcasm in Japanese comedy. There is sometimes, but not always, like, a main theme. Anyway, guys, again, love to hear your feedback. What do you think about this situation? Is there any way that Fua-chan could make a comeback? Have you seen any stars in Japan do this kind of thing before? Do you think this is comparable to any kind of American type incident? And how's your holiday going? I hope it's good. I'm going to talk to you again real soon. Just wanted to post this today so that we're still in the loop, and you know I haven't disappeared completely. My family's still here, so I'm going to shut this video down ASAP and get right back to hanging out with them. But I hope you two are also hanging out with your family and having a great holiday. Until next time, I hope you have a great rest of the day.